Chizik House was built about 260 years ago in the 1720s. It was owned and designed by a wealthy nobleman called Lord Burlington, or Richard Boyle, which was his family name. Now, the important thing to know about Chizik House is that it was never built as a house to be lived in. Consequently, you won't find any bedrooms, kitchens, or dining rooms, or anything like that. Lord Burlington used the house.
The first time we went, we had to do it head on, and the second time we went, we did it in pen, and we did trees in front of it.
And secondly,
and we drew the pictures from the back of the house as well, with pen and pencil.
A herm is a pillar or a pedestal that tapers towards the base, and on top supports a head or a bust.
Herm stays still, like a person standing still, a piece of rock that just stands still, watching us. It never says a word to anyone. Herms never blink.
Greek god Hermes, hence the word herm. Here, in the forecourt of Chizik House, the herms that line the yew hedges help to create this very grand approach.
The urn, standing still, a monument to no one, no one's monument. On its block it is an acorn on a chopping block, waiting to be cracked by the hammer. And then when I finished drawing it, I cut it out, and then I got some dark green ink in a palette, and got a roller and
11 years old, and a visit to Chizik House is more than just a lesson about history. These children are developing skills of observation and learning how to set down their findings in different ways.
And then I got some scrap paper and put it over the print, and I got a clean roller and rolled over that, took the scrap paper off and pulled the print off.
Learning what to look for, how to ask questions, record detail, and use evidence in different ways are skills which children can develop, whether they're in their first years at school or students on a GCSE course. This program includes examples of work from different curriculum areas and with different age groups.
The lion statue looks like it's going to jump out any minute, but it can't, it's only stone. It looks like it's going to sleep, but it can't, it's only stone. Looks like it's listening to everything we're saying, but it can't, it's only stone. Looks like we're staring at everything we do, but it can't, it's only stone.
Well, here we are in the dome saloon at Chizik House. And looking up, we can see that this dome ceiling consists of these octagonal shaped...
I got my compass and I drew a circle, then I got my ruler and done some lines, and then cut it out and then done a pattern inside, and then we coloured it in.
In fact, from the top of the dome to the floor, the distance is 48 feet.
Well, we studied the ground plan of Chiswick House, and we figured out that it was a 16 square grid, so we put all the rooms on we drew the rooms on some paper, squared paper. Then we had it photocopied and we coloured them in for certain rooms.
A class from a middle school looked at the rooms in Ham House, at the furniture and objects in them, then devised and played a simple board game which showed what they had discovered.
Start at the Great Hall, throw the dice and move around the board. If you land on a room marked by a gold star, take a card from the pack. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. to Queen's bedchamber. Vase under fireplace, 5 points. Gold altar, dish in chapel, 10 points. If you get a stolen clock card, you must forfeit all the cards you have won.
Pupils in another group chose one detail in the building which they could draw, and were then asked to write about what they'd seen. All the work was then collated into one big display, which could be used to discuss what had been recorded. The statue of a river god was the inspiration for on-site drawings, transformed into paintings and prints back at school. One class imagined that they had been invited in the 18th century to draw Marble Hill House and details of its gardens by the owner. Before their visit, they looked at the contrasts between rich and poor, using contemporary paintings as their source. After it, they incorporated what they had found and felt into drama work. A site drawing captures initial interest, developing to paint and then to print, as children are encouraged to explore different techniques.
Dear Jenny, I've heard you're an artist and I would love you to come and sketch in my new and colourful garden. The flowers are bright and full in bloom. I live by the river and you may come by boat or coach. You'll have tea on the lawn and I would love to show you around my house and garden. Love from Henrietta. Dear Henrietta, thank you for the wonderful day. It was a pleasure drawing your lovely garden and I'd love to come again. I have sent back my sketches to hang on your wall. I hope you like them. Love from Jenny.
Dong, 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 dong. Everyone up, 4 o'clock on a sunny wet morning. I'm a maid. I'm working in Marble Hill House. It's very tiring and wages are not very good. I'm in charge of all the maids, although my main job is cleaning the stairs. Henriette is very nice, really, although she's very commanding. But I expect to get bossed about. It's part of the job. We're not allowed to call her by her real name. We usually call her Madam or Miss. Today, guests are coming, so I must get cracking. Mary, do the tables, polish and all. Hetty, do the floors till they're spick and span. Lottie and Heather, do the skirting boards. Emily, collect Madam's.
At the same site, a group of 16-year-olds used photographs, tape recorders, sketches and notes to record their carefully planned visit. They were asked to compare aspects of the building, to label what they saw, and to describe in detail features in one room which interested them. Assembling their work gave everyone in the group an opportunity to share ideas and speculate about the evidence they had all gathered. The Jewel Tower, a much simpler monument, became a classroom for a group of 5 to 8-year-olds in which everyone had their own piece of close observation to undertake. Whatever their age or ability, the range of approaches used enabled every child to make a valued contribution.
The dual tower was built of stone. There was lots of little stones and big stones on the walls. The colours of the stones were like light grey and dark grey. They were light brown and dark brown as well. The dual tower has 14 windows. Inside the dual tower, it has 46 steps. The steps are made out of cement. The stairs were in a spiral. The ceiling was made of wood. This door was made of wood with a metal lock. It was on the top floor. This is a rubbing of the date on the metal door.
Did a full term on topics that had no books to go with them, that had the only reference materials were very adult. I mean, how did you make that so successful when ostensibly it seems to me it has every reason for failing?
Sorry, I think a plan should be fairly loose so you can take off in different directions. And the problem with reference books or a project with lots of material is, if you judge by the material, if you take it by the material, it's your choice and it's a difficult choice. If you take it by the children's interest, it's an easy choice because it becomes obvious to you.
I think years ago, if I'd gone to visit somewhere, I wouldn't have dared go without a worksheet because I would be frightened the children weren't going to be able to keep themselves occupied for 2-3 hours or something. And yet now I think there's nothing I'd like to take less than a worksheet, just a board, paper and a pencil, and let them do their own work afterwards on their back.
There's something about being allowed to choose what you're studying, which means it makes the motivation much greater, because if you're told you've got to look at this window or this pediment, it's quite different from if you say, well, that's an interesting statue and I think that's terrific.
But, Paula, you took a group to Chiswick House. Can you tell me what you did in the way of preparation before the children went?
Yes, well, I think really we'd looked at it more from a mathematical point of view, and English Heritage had given us some good information and booklets with plans and the octagonal shape. And so I think we'd looked at the architecture of the Pantheon and Palladian.
Here in the classroom?
In the classroom, yes,
using
with books, reference books,
yeah.
and also telling them about it.
Yeah.
So that they'd be able to, when they went to the house, they could actually recognise the style. Mm. And we first of all took them just to look at the building.
So they spent how long at the house on their first visit?
A morning on their first visit, and then on the second visit they'd already done drawings of the front on the first visit. So the second visit we went round the back, and the children sat down by themselves in a space in the grounds and did drawings of the back of the house.
So where did the poems come from? Because
well, that was really they'd done their drawings, and then we walked all around the grounds and we had our lunch in a not designed garden. Then we went back. We said you may choose whatever you want in the grounds or look at the building and go in a space and sit down very quietly And we gave them quite a limited amount of time, about 5-10 minutes, to go away and do a poem.
A lot of these houses, they see every day, 1 or 2 pass on their way to school. And I mean, like me, for instance, who took Marble Hill for granted, that sometimes what's right under your nose, you never notice.
I think facts come, or if knowledge of facts is important, it comes from an interest, doesn't it? It's not worth teaching facts to give an interest. You give an interest and then they will pick up and question. And that's, we know that's the way they learn, I suppose. So that's the way we approach it.
And I like the way that the children started off, as Paul was saying, with an interest and actually developed it themselves, took it further. They wanted to go on and find out more about certain things, not necessarily the things that we would have ever expected them to follow.
I think actually sometimes things do grow. You just have a few ideas mulling around in your head, and then you gradually do develop on those. I don't think it's necessarily that you maybe have a plan that you've written down to start with, a sort of forecast, but I think children always take you off somewhere.
And I mean, it's the silly thing about with everything.